Hari Bol. So Hare Krishna. So we have His Grace Gauranga Prabhu. Hari Bol. Gauranga Prabhu is the one who... Gauranga Prabhu is the one who has actually formally shaped ISKCON Youth Services in Chowpatty. He began and he shaped it, and in this form it's going and gradually taking it ahead. Also, Gauranga Prabhu is not just a IVAS, but he is now a LC member of our temple, who is giving a vision and mission to all our temple's projects. Not only that, he is a director of GV. He is fulfilling the dream of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He is a GBC for the worldwide ISKCON activities and guiding so many people. He is giving, imparting training, leadership training to the so many devotees all across the world. He has an intense travel plan, and among that, so many responsibilities. So many responsibilities. So sometimes I think like, how does he handle these so many responsibilities? I had studied parallel computing that time, and the parallel computing, supercomputers and parallel computers, they work simultaneously to process certain things. But I have a strong belief that even the supercomputers and the parallel computers will also fail in front of Gauranga Prabhu. He handles so many responsibilities without the wrinkles on his forehead. Without any wrinkles on his forehead, and still, and with so many responsibility, intense travel plan.
सुबह कोई मिला नहीं क्या?
Not at all. It is not an exaggeration, Prabhuji. It is true fact. When we see you, we derive so much of intense inspiration. And he always makes a point, whenever there is a IYS annual Yatra, he makes it a point that amongst all his intense travel plan and responsibilities, he comes and gives association to the ISKCON Youth Services annual Yatra. So let's thank Gauranga Prabhu by loudly chanting 3 times.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for inviting me for this IYS Yatra 2024. We are very fortunate to be here in Sri Rangam Dham, and I am going to be discussing in my 2 lectures on Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tour of South India as described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela. Dhanyam tam naomi chaitanyam vasudeva dayardardri nashtakushtam rupapushtam bhakti tushtam chakaraya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tours South India in the period of April 1510 to 1512. 2 years Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travels from Jagannath Puri, visits various holy places in South India, and comes back to Jagannath Puri. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes sannyas on Shankaranti Day, the January 14th of 1510. And after that, in February, he travels to Jagannath Puri. In March, he defeats Sarabhaum Bhattacharya in debate, converts him into a Vaishnav. And then this is the month of April, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is proposing to all of his intimate associates in Jagannath Puri. Nijaganiyani kohe binoya koriya, olingana kori sabai sri hoste dhuriya. So Lord Chaitanya holds the hands of his intimate devotees in Puri and glorifies them and expresses his gratitude towards them. And he says, Toma sabajani ami pranadhika kori prana chhada ay toma chadite na pari. He says, all of you are more dear to me than my very life. Why? Because you have brought me to Lord Jagannath. You have allowed me to have darshan of Jagannath. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing his gratitude to his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada mentions a very important lesson. One must be extremely humble and affectionate in his dealings with devotees, always expressing one's dependence on the devotees in our journey towards Krishna. It is the Vaishnava Sangha which attracts us to Krishna. It is the Vaishnava Sangha which nourishes in our journey towards Krishna. And it is the Vaishnava Sangha which will finally help us cross the finish line and attain the lotus feet of Krishna. And it is the Vaishnava Sangha which may create doubts in our mind, lack of faith in our mind, all kinds of criticisms within our mind, and make us misbehave, so that ultimately we leave the association of devotees. So the Vaishnava Sangha is a double-edged sword, and we have to be extremely careful in how we deal in this Sangha. And hence, in the Bhagavatam it is described, Sat Sangat Mukta Duh Sango Hatumna Utsahate Buddhaha Kirtyamano Yasho Yasya Sakrit Akarnirochanam. Through the Satsanga, Mukta Duh Sango, one is able to overcome one's bad habits, one's previous conditionings, one's various other attitudes which we have acquired from millions of lives. And hence, we are totally dependent on the Vaishnava Sangha in our onward journey in Krishna consciousness. So Kaviraj Goswami also expresses his humility, his dependence, and he's saying that whatever power I have to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita is simply coming by the blessings of the Vaishnavas. Murkhani chakshudramoi bishaya lalas Vaishnavagya bole kore etika sahas. I am murkha, I am foolish, Neecha, I am fallen, Kshudra, insignificant, Vishaya lalas, I am extremely attached to sense gratification. So people may question, then why you are writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita? If you are unqualified, then forget it. He's saying, no, Vaishnavagya bole. It is because of the power of the instruction of the Vaishnavas. Eteka sahas. I am even having the impudence to try performing this service, although highly unqualified. And therefore, this is a very, very important lesson which Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating, that yes, he has a deep desire to travel to the holy places of South India, but he does not do that without seeking the permission, the blessings, the good wishes, the order and the instruction of the Vaishnavas. Success in material endeavor comes based on our past karmic skills, but success in spiritual endeavor comes simply by the blessings of the devotees, by the blessings of the Vaishnavas. And we should be constantly eager to receive blessings of the Vaishnavas, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating. When Srila Prabhupada, he was establishing Krishna consciousness movement all over the world, he had practically no clue which way to go. But Srila Prabhupada had only one faith, the order of his spiritual master Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when Prabhupada was in Sitakant Banerjee Lane, he was sitting and chanting japa, and Dol Govinda Shastri, who was a Sanskrit scholar, came out. On the first floor, Srila Prabhupada had let out on rent his first floor of the house to the Gaudiya Math devotees so that they could teach Harinamamrita Vyakaran. So now in our college circuit we have basses and voices and all these things. So the first base was Prabhupada's house. Gaudiya Math had their base on the first floor. Dol Govinda Shastri came out and sat next to Prabhupada and he said, Abhay Babu, that time Prabhupada was a Grihastha. This was in the 40s. And he said, Abhay Babu, I just gave a lecture to all the Gaudiya Math brahmacharis, Prithvi Tyache Jyotanagara Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Moranam. In every town and village, the holy name will spread. I gave the lecture, but I do not know how will it happen. And Srila Prabhupada, who was chanting japa, got up, walked 2 steps down, turned around and pointing his fingers to Dol Govinda Shastri, he said, if Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made that prediction, then 100% it will happen one day. Then Prabhupada took 2 steps down further, turned around, and pointing to Dol Govinda Shastri, he said, someday a fool surrendered at the lotus feet of Srila Saraswati Thakur will make it happen. And Prabhupada took 2 steps down further. And because Dol Govinda Shastri was Saraswati Thakur disciple, he started thinking, will that be me? He just had that doubt. Prabhupada turned around and pointing towards him, he said, it will not be you. And Dol Govinda Shastri started thinking, what does Abhay Babu think? Will he do it? Will he manage it? How is it possible? He is only thinking about business, business and business. So nobody at that point imagined that Abhay Babu, who was a businessman at that time with a family, he will be able to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world at the age of 70 plus and establish 108 temples all over the world and 5,500 disciples and create a Bhaktivedanta Book Trust International which has distributed 55 crore Bhagavad Gitas all over the world as we speak today. And Prabhupada began his journey at 70. And all of you are not even 20, 25. And some of you may already be feeling, अरे थक गया मैं, पीठ दर्द दे रहा है, पेट दर्द दे रहा है, सर दर्द कर रहा है. So imagine 3 heart attacks and establishing this movement as a grihastha. So therefore, Krishna consciousness movement is not dependent on your abilities and skill. Yes, some abilities and skill are required. But what powers that ability and skill is the Vaishnav Kripa. And that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is focusing on, that yes, I have to go to the holy places, but the essence of visiting the holy place is to seek the shelter and the association of the holy people. And to begin that journey, I have to begin by seeking the blessings of holy people. So it is the Vaishnava Sangha which gives the power to begin the journey. It is the Vaishnava Sangha which one seeks in the holy place. It is the Vaishnava Sangha which helps us to realize the essence of the holy place. So in short, holy place means seeking holy people. Holy place of pilgrimage or tirtha literally means that which connects the material to the spiritual. Tirtha literally means bridge. The literal meaning of tirtha is what? Bridge. When there is a bridge, you cross from one to another. That's what tirtha literally means. Consciousness is material. I have to make it spiritual. Let me cross using the bridge of the holy place. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this point turns to the devotees and he says, I have to go to South India. So the devotees are wondering, we just came together here, why do you have to go to South India? So Lord Chaitanya says, I have to go and search for my brother Vishwarup, who left when he was very young. And I don't know where he is. Lord Chaitanya already knew Vishwarup had attained Samadhi in Pandharpur. Lord Chaitanya knew this. And still he is saying, I have to go and search for Vishwarup. If he knows that Vishwarup has already attained Samadhi and then he is saying, I have to go and search for Vishwarup, what does it mean? What is Lord Chaitanya doing? Is he speaking the truth? Or is he speaking half-truth? He is speaking in a diplomatic way. Vishwarupa siddhi prapti jane na sakal dakshin desha uddharite koren eichhal. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew that Vishwarup has attained Samadhi. Still, he spoke this. Why? Because if Lord Chaitanya says, I am going to South India, everybody would say, I want to come. And that's what happened. Nityanand Prabhu says, I want to come with you because I have spent practically 20 years traveling every holy place across India. I can be the best tour guide for you. Then Jagadananda Pandit says, I will travel with you. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looks at Nityananda and says, Are, you have broken my danda at 3 places and thrown it. You are an unreliable partner. Jagadananda Pandit, when he says, Lord Chaitanya says, you offer all kinds of bodily sense gratification to me, and if I don't accept it, you stop speaking to me for 3 days. Then Mukunda says, I want to come with you. And Lord Chaitanya says, Mukunda, if I take you with me, just by seeing me perform all kinds of austerities, you become so morose and distressed. And Damodar Pandit says, I want to come with you. And Lord Chaitanya says, you are so strict with me. You keep chastising me all the time. And I sometimes wonder whether I am supposed to listen to your instruction or you are supposed to listen to mine. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to travel alone. Yes, Vaishnava Sangha is very important. Vaishnava Sangha gives the shelter for us to progress. But Lord Chaitanya is revealing there is nothing which is absolutely positive or absolutely negative when it comes to devotional service. Because in certain situations, certain presence of certain individuals, however advanced or intimate they may be, may not be favorable for that service. So therefore, every kind of decision and choice we make in devotional service is context specific and may not always be consciousness specific. Lord Chaitanya is surrounded by devotees with the highest level of consciousness. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is requesting the devotees with highest consciousness to stay out, to stay away, to not travel with him. Because in that context, when he is going to South India, he wants to be alone so that he can preach the way he wants, he can perform austerities the way he wants. He would not want to be constrained by devotees wanting to serve him. So sometimes the presence of intimate, loving associates can be a negative factor in devotional service. And that's what, is described here. Dakshina Desha Uddharite Koren Eichhal. Mahaprabhu resorted to what is known as chal, or a half-truth. But what is that chal? Naham Veda Vyavasitam Pitrorvah Kulanandana Gandharyava Mahabhaga Mushitosmi Mahatmabhi. Bhagavatam describes that when Yudhishthir Maharaj goes to see Dhritarashtra in the early morning, Dhritarashtra is not there. Yudhishthir is bewildered and turns to Sanjay and says, Sanjay, you are secretary to Dhritarashtra. Do you know where Dhritarashtra has gone, where Vidura has gone, where Gandhari has gone? And Sanjay says, Naham Veda Vyavasitam. I do not know where they have gone. Pitrorva Kulanandana. All my masters, where they have gone, I have no clue. Gandharyava Mahabhaga. Even Gandhari, where she has gone. Mushitosmi Mahatma Bhi. And he says, my dear Yudhishthir Maharaj, I can only conclude that we have been cheated by the great souls. Mahatmas have cheated us. So Prabhupada begins the purport by saying, how can Mahatmas cheat somebody? And when someone cheats somebody, how can he be Mahatma? And then Prabhupada writes his classic statement. He says, great souls cheat for a great cause. Great souls cheat for a great cause. Which means, as per time, place and circumstance, great souls are empowered with the maturity, the ability, the sincerity, the purity of intention to be able to understand what choices to make, which may appear to be diplomatic. But the mission requires it, the institution requires it, the protection and the progress and the growth of the Vaishnava association requires it. And therefore, as Bhishma Dev on the bed of arrows sees Krishna and the Pandavas walking in, the sages walking in, Tan Sametan Mahabhaga Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayanas Dharmagyo Desha Kala Vibhagavit. Bhishma is unable to move. Bhishma cannot move his fingers. Bhishma cannot move his legs. Every millimeter of his body is pierced with deadly sharp arrows of Arjuna. Bhishma Dev knows, as per protocol, he is supposed to welcome them. He is supposed to offer the various upacharas of welcome and hospitality, failing which it would be a great offense. But he cannot move. So what does he do? Within the constraints and the limitation he has, Desha Kala Vibhagavit. Bhishma, being a powerful personality who is very spiritually advanced, he makes decisions according to time, place and circumstance. And Bhishma realizes, there is only one part of my body which is working, which is the tongue. And therefore he offered prayers of welcome to all of those sages. And that exactly is what great souls are empowered to do. In a certain situation, when things are complex, when we are at crossroads, where multiple decisions appear to be equally probable, where the pros and cons of taking one decision seem to conflict with another, what technically is known as dharma sankat. At that point, it is not the material intelligence which comes into play. It is dadami buddhi yogam tam, the spiritual intelligence, which is the result of three things. Sukriti, which is piety, attained by serving, by chanting, by hearing. And when there is Sukriti, then there is Kripa. The blessings of the devotees comes as a result of that Sukriti. When there is Kripa and Sukriti combined, then the Vivek or the discrimination becomes very clear. And one is able to make the right choice and speak the right words and make the right decision in the fraction of a moment, which cannot be usually done by a step-by-step process of analysis. And that's what we see, that here Krishna is revealing through these pastimes how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also making that decision to go to South India alone, without anybody. Although Vaishnav Sangha is highly recommended, but for this particular seva, Lord Chaitanya wants to go alone, and he is so desperate to go alone. He knows the only way I will be allowed to go alone is if I express a particular reason for going, which is connected to my family, and the other devotees would not want to bother me with that. And therefore he gives a family reason for going to South India, that I am going to search for Vishwaroop. Dakshin Desha Uddharite Koren Ei Chal. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was in Detroit, there is a famous Fisher mansion. It belonged to a very, very wealthy industrialist called Fisher. And Prabhupada heard that that particular building is up for sale. And it cost a few $1 million. And when Prabhupada heard about it, he said, let's go and have a look at it. The devotee said, Prabhupada, we have no money. Prabhupada said, what is the problem in having a look? So he just went. Ambarish Prabhu accompanied Prabhupada. Lekha Shravanti Devi accompanied Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was shown that entire property by the estate agent. Now that estate agent was super excited, because hardly anybody had come to even inquire about purchasing that property. So when that estate agent heard that this Swami is coming with his disciples, he got excited that at least I have a chance to sell this. So he was showing each and every room within the Fisher mansion with great enthusiasm. And for those who have visited, it is right next to a river, and the river comes straight inside the house, right next to the dining area, where a boat would be stationed, and after dinner you could sit in the boat and go into the river. That's how the design was. Every room is so ornately designed that from different parts of the world, special artifacts have been brought to ornately decorate it. But what I like the best in the Fisher mansion, when I visit the temple now, is the bathrooms and the toilets. The tiles have gold between them. It is gold-plated tiling. Even between the tiles there is gold. The knobs, the showers, everything is gold-plated. The toilet looks so opulent, you would not feel like doing anything there. So when Prabhupada saw, he was just pointing, this room we will have the altar. Radha, Krishna will stand here. Oh, this place is very good for brahmachari ashram. And the brahmacharis were getting a heart attack that we will stay in such an opulent place. And then Prabhupada said, here we will have our kitchen, and here we will have this. And Prabhupada was confidence personified. It was only the devotees who were having doubt, looking at each other. पैसा कहाँ है यार? ये कहाँ घुमा रहे हमको? And the ecstasy of the estate agent was growing. At the end, Prabhupada turned around and with his stick pointed to the entire beautiful building and said, this building is fit for the kings. It's a palace fit for the kings. And the estate agent was in ecstasy. Then Prabhupada said, but we are beggars. We have nothing. We have nothing. Please give this building in donation to us for free. The estate agent nearly got a heart attack because he had done many negotiations. Nobody had negotiated like this. And Prabhupada would often say that it is very difficult to negotiate with me because I am a Calcutta boy. So the estate agent, he looked at the devotees for help. Koi to bachao mujhe. The devotees could not look at Prabhupada, they could not look at the estate agent, they were looking up here and there. And then finally, Ambarish Prabhu started negotiating. And then instead of millions of dollars, they brought the price to $300,000. And then Prabhupada turned to Ambarish Prabhu and he said, you give 150,000. And then he turned to Lekha Shravanti and said, you give 150,000. So what is unique about this is Ambarish Prabhu is the son of Alfred Ford, Ford Motor Company in Detroit. And the labor union leader is usually against the owner. So Walter Reuther was the name of the labor union leader who was always fighting against the Ford family. His daughter was Lekha Shravanti. So Prabhupada managed to get donation from the Malik and the labor union leader, unity in diversity. That was Prabhupada's power. So this estate agent was so bewildered by Prabhupada's dealings because he had never done this kind of negotiation. In India, bargaining is a regular leela. You know, it is like part of the pastime. But this guy was totally confused. So many people speaking so many quotations, and finally he agreed. 2 days later, he came with a truck and he started taking away, some of the equipments from the bathroom and other things. The devotee stopped him and said, what are you doing? He said, the old man cheated me. I don't know how I agreed for such a cheap price. I don't know how I agreed. He did some mystic power on me. He did a magical spell on me. So the devotees told him that whatever has been agreed upon has been agreed upon. You cannot take anything from here, and they left. So Srila Prabhupada, he established Krishna consciousness movement on the foundation of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But whatever was required to establish the mission, even when sometimes diplomacy was required, an entire book, Giriraj Maharaj's book on I will build a temple here on the Bombay land, it is nothing but a detailed explanation of how Srila Prabhupada struggled to make things happen. And so, great souls cheat for a great cause. Normally, we should try to follow the proper etiquette and follow the norms. Only highly empowered devotees with the proper empowerment, blessings, permission would be in a position and privilege to do this. But for the general sadhaka devotees, the norm should be we follow the proper protocol. So when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about how he wants to go alone and then starts pointing fault in Nityanand Prabhu, Jagadananda Pandit, Mukunda, Damodar Pandit. So Kaviraj Goswami says one should not think that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is criticizing them because he doesn't like them. And he says, Iha sabara basha prabhu hoye ye gune dosharopa chale kore guna aswadane. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by criticizing them, is actually tasting the power of their love. What is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicating? Devotees control me with their love to such an extent that I do not have the freedom to do what I want. So he's glorifying the power of devotees' love. Dosharopa chale kore guna aswadane. Therefore, the greatest power in the entire creation is the power of the devotees' love. That can control Krishna, make Krishna a prisoner like no other power. Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhrityavashyata swavashenapi krishnena yasyadam seshwaram vashe. In this way, the Damodar Lila concludes to demonstrate that how Krishna becomes controlled by his devotees' love. Harina bhrityavashyata swavashenapi krishnena. That Krishna who is only within his own control. Yasyedam sa ishwaram vashe. Even the 330 million demigods cannot control Krishna, but he becomes controlled by his devotees' love. That is the power of the love of the Vaishnavas. And so, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually appreciating the devotees' intense affection and love for him, and how that love is capturing him totally. Like when Bhishma Dev, he had taken a vow that he will kill the Pandavas with the 5 arrows. Duryodhan did not have that faith. So Duryodhan comes and then he tells Bhishma Dev that 5 arrows you have reserved for tomorrow, just give it to me because I will keep it safe with me. So Duryodhan was such a diplomat. He was having doubt that overnight Bhishma should not change his mind. So better I keep the arrows and give those arrows to him during the battle. So when Duryodhan took those arrows, Krishna, he became filled with anxiety. Because Krishna is conquered by the love of the Pandavas. By the power of the love of the Pandavas, Krishna is completely conquered. Krishna is totally restless. He gets up in the middle of the night, rushes to Arjuna. Arjuna is sleeping peacefully in his camp. And it is said when Arjuna, in the day and night, through his breathing, Arjuna would be constantly chanting Krishna's name. While inhaling Krish and while exhaling Na, Krishna, Krishna, Arjuna would be constantly emanating Krishna's name. So when Krishna goes near Arjuna, he sees Arjuna sleeping, but the names of Krishna are coming out. That is Arjuna. Even in sleep he chants the holy names. Unfortunately for us, while chanting we go to sleep. Krishna wakes up Arjuna and Arjuna gets up and says, Krishna, in the middle of the night, why are you waking me up? And Krishna says, how can you sleep peacefully when you know that? Do you know what has happened? Bhishma has taken a vow to kill each one of you with his 5 arrows. Arjuna, who is sitting erect, again goes back on his pillow and says, Krishna, don't disturb me for such small things. Krishna is saying, small thing? Are Bhishma means one who is famous only for taking vow. Before Bhishma's powerful warrior traits is his ability to take vows and fulfill that vow for eternity. If he has taken a vow, it's not a joke. Our taking a vow and Bhishma taking a vow is different. And many of you may take some vow, Ekadashi, Purna Nirjal. And then when the Ekadashi actually comes, no jal, only fruit juice. And by the time it is evening, no jal, little fruit juice, Ekadashi pizza also. So gradually the vow gets edited. Bhishma is not like that. He has taken a vow means it's done. So when Arjuna goes back to sleep, Krishna wakes him up, says, hey, How can you be so relaxed? Bhishma has taken a vow, he's going to kill you. Arjuna says, my dear Lord, you have just declared, and I have heard the Gita from you directly. Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. You have only made that declaration, my devotee will never perish. So protecting devotees is your department, your seva, not mine. And he went back to sleep. That is the kind of confidence Arjuna had. That all we need to do is focus on developing deep, pure, authentic devotion. And then Krishna comes under the devotee's control. Durapahi alpatapasa seva vaikunthavartmasu yatropagiyate nityam deva devo janardana. Those who have done meager austerity will never get the shelter of devotees who have Krishna within their heart and who are able to control Krishna. Api me bhagavan prita Krishna pandu sutta priya paitrisat sevya prityartham yat gotrasyat bandhava. When Parikshit Maharaj is cursed to die in 7 days and 7 nights and he sees Shukadeva Goswami right in front of him, he is overwhelmed and he says, I have the great fortune of having you come in front of me, not because I am powerful, I am great. My only qualification is I am in the family of the Pandavas. You, my dear Krishna, have been conquered by the Pandavas' love to such an extent that you are constantly monitoring how the Pandavas can be given protection even beyond their immediate family. And so Prabhupada writes, when we come to Krishna consciousness, we have some anxiety. How can I serve my family in the best possible way? What is the best gift I can give to my family? And Prabhupada says that Krishna was not only taking care of Pandavas, but he is taking care of Pandava's grandson when he needs the help the most. So we will not be able to serve our family beyond our own lifetime. But if we get connected to Krishna and please Krishna and capture Krishna through our bhakti, then Krishna takes care of family members beyond our lifetime, even in future generations, which none of us can do. And therefore the best investment and the best gift to our family is to become a Krishna conscious devotee. And that's what all of you are doing. So when I joined Krishna consciousness movement, I took an extreme step of becoming brahmachari. And believe me, most people become very fearful of ISKCON because of this. Some of you have also taken to Krishna consciousness and chanting 16 rounds and others. You may be receiving comments from your family. Bach ke rehna. When one starts going to other temples, people have no objection. Shivji ka mandir jao. Siddhi Vinayak, no problem. Babulnath, अरे बढ़िया है. बोले ISKCON मंदिर में जा रहा हूँ. बोले अरे बाबा बाबा बच के रहना. क्यों? यद गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते. अंदर तो नॉर्मल जाता है, बाहर निकलता है कुछ तो हो जाता है. नॉन वेज नहीं खाएंगे, दारू नहीं पिएंगे, वो भी मान सकते हैं, ठीक है. फिर बोलते कांदा लहसुन नहीं खाएंगे, वो भी फिर भी चल जाएगा. बोला चाय कॉफी नहीं पिएंगे. अरे जिंदा कैसे रहेंगे? So how many of you have experienced change after coming to Krishna consciousness? And how many of you have experienced positivity and increase in joy after going through this change? याद रखना, हरि बोल बोला यहाँ पे. But people, they become afraid कि ये बदल गया. He has changed. So when I joined, my family was very hesitant to tell anybody what I am doing. So my relatives would ask, अरे कहाँ है बेटा, कहाँ है? So they would say, बम्बई में है. करता क्या है? बोले बम्बई में है. लेकिन करता तो होगा, बम्बई में है. So then that time the Atma serial used to come on television, 95, 96. So one of my cousins saw that and immediately paused it and called my mother and said, अरे ये टीवी पे दिख रहा है, अपना ही आदमी लग रहा है. And she said, हाँ वही है. बोले हेयर स्टाइल अलग है. बोले यार वो भगवत गीता का प्रचार करने गया. So my cousin was so enthusiastic. He said, अरे we are 30 cousins. At least one person is doing something which will benefit us. So we should support him. So he was enthusiastic. He said, we will organize satsang program in Chennai. So, he got together 70, 80 of relatives. It was like a proper satsang program. I took one more devotee with me. And he gave a lecture saying that your family is delivered. And he pointed to me. Because he has joined full time and he's become Krishna's devotee, 21 generations will be liberated. 21 generations, including all of you, will be liberated and go to Vaikuntha. Everybody was in ecstasy. After the lecture, that cousin came to me and said, continue chanting Hare Krishna. And then he said, if you have any problem, just let me know. But don't stop. And then he said, third thing I realized, I don't have to do anything now. Because you will take care of me. So he's consistently following that. He is the most enthusiastic in keeping in touch with me. But never start chanting. Whichever city in the world he goes, he makes sure he plans with me in advance where is the ISKCON temple, because he likes the prasadam. So the point is that yes, as soon as we connect with Krishna consciousness, we capture Krishna through our devotion. Dosharopa chhale kore guna aswadane. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is glorifying the devotees. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, these devotees have so much of power through their bhakti, they will control me. They will not allow me to do what I want in my South India tour. Therefore, I have to go alone. I cannot travel with anybody. So at this point, Nityananda Prabhu is not someone who will keep quiet. Lord Chaitanya said, I want to go alone. But Nityananda Prabhu is saying, no. Tomar dui hasta baddha nama ganane jalapatra bahirvasa vahibe ke mone. My dear Lord, you want to go alone in South India, but both your hands will be engaged. With fingers of one hand, you will be chanting the names, and the fingers of another hand, you will be counting the names. Chanting and counting will be going on simultaneously. So both your hands are engaged. Jalapatra bahirvasa vahibe kemane. Who will carry your jalapatra and your, angavastra? We need somebody. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. Many times people question, why should we count our chanting? Because generally, counting is something which is connected to doing something very formally in your professional life, in your regular life. But what is this? Counting your chanting? Arey, bhakti is supposed to be from bhav. Why should we count? And what to speak of 16 rounds? 16 rounds is very, very difficult. So from where this 16 rounds is coming? Prabhupada says, from this evidence. Nityananda Prabhu's evidence that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in full ecstasy. But even in the full ecstasy, he was counting the japa, counting the mantras he was chanting, keeping track of that chanting. And therefore, one student was one time arguing with me, which shloka in Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying chant 16 rounds? Is there any shloka? Is it given in the Mahabharata that Arjuna was asked by Krishna on the battlefield, Mala ho gaya kya? Did Arjuna ever tell Krishna, take the chariot behind that tree, 4 rounds remaining? Did the Pandavas ever tell the Kauravas, let us pause for 2 hours, let us all finish our rounds? From where all of you got this 16 round? I said, Baba, Krishna says only one verse, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam, 24 hours. Can you chant 24 hours? So therefore Prabhupada said, chant 16 rounds minimum. That boy said, Prabhupada ki jai. Because if there was no counting of 16 rounds, Saraswati Thakur's standard was 64 rounds. How many of you want that standard? Of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, 64 rounds every day. कौन है बहादुर यहां बताओ? Nobody. Okay, how many of you are chanting 16 rounds? Raise your hands. How many of you are not chanting 16 rounds? Raise your hand. Not chanting. ऊपर उठाओ जोर से. Not chanting. Okay. मैं मुफ्त में लेक्चर देता नहीं. So, how many of you are not chanting 16 rounds? I have a request for you. 16 round वाले हाथ उठाओ. बोलूं क्या? रिक्वेस्ट बोलूं क्या? जो चैंट नहीं कर रहे हैं 16 राउंड उनको प्रस्ताव दें क्या? पक्का? आप लोग मेरे साथ हैं? ये लोग बोल रहे बाबा. So one of the objectives of the IYS Yatra is that devotees from different backgrounds and different levels of chanting will come. When they come to the Yatra, they come with different rounds. But when they leave the Yatra, they all chant 16 rounds. ये IYS यात्रा का नियम है जो हम पहले नहीं बताते. Yes, what do you say, Ras Govind Prabhu? Ras Govind Prabhu is our legal head. So, he's the witness. तो क्या ख्याल है राज गोविंद प्रभु 16 राउंड के बारे में? हाँ, इतना धीमे से बोल रहा है, जोर से बोलो. Haribo! So those who are not chanting 16 rounds, raise your hands again. अरे जोर से उठाओ. हाँ रुको, देखने दो मुझे. So now I am asking question to all of you. Those who are not chanting 16 rounds, How many of you will start chanting 16 rounds after this yatra? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Haribol! So, the idea is that we are all waging a war against distraction. Our war is against distraction. No generation is undergoing bigger attack than your generation. When I started preaching, in ISKCON in 1993, life was peaceful. There was only one channel, Doordarshan. And the quality of program was such that people also used to have darshan from Dur only. कुछ देखने लायक था ही नहीं. शाम को किसान का प्रोग्राम आता था, कुछ ये आता था, वो आता था. Then gradually other things began. So when I started preaching, I had the luxury of the full attention of the audience. Because there was no phone, no smartphone, no this phone, no that phone, no internet. But then gradually all these things began. And to such an extent, I was the first brahmachari to get mobile phone in Chowpatty. Yes, Sri Chaitanya, याद है? Sri Chaitanya हमारे काल स्वरूप हैं, time personified. हाँ, first I got, then संकीर्तन प्रभु ने मेरे हाथ से मेरा नोकिया लिया, बोला क्या है ये कैसे काम करता है? So he heard from me and he got a version which was 100 times better than mine. Highly sophisticated. He was pretty, tech advanced. So I am still keeping the same model only. Nokia. क्या किया? Nokia. So the levels of distraction have gone up exponentially. It's mind-boggling. The New York mayor has declared social media on the same level as drug addiction, smoking, other kinds of mental health illnesses and epidemics. He has declared it as an epidemic. So therefore, this is the situation. So there was all this YouTube and then WhatsApp and Facebook and now Instagram and then Instagram Reels. I have been giving lecture on television from 94. 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour lecture. And people used to sit and hear 1 hour. And when I started my Instagram account, they said 30 seconds में बोलना है. और मेरे को तो पता भी नहीं था because I don't follow Instagram, I don't have password also of my own account. So I said 30 seconds? पागल हो गए क्या? बोले हाँ यही है अभी दुनिया. बोले क्या है ये रील? अरे रील मतलब अंदर कुछ रील है कि नहीं? So then I said, well, I hope it is for outsiders only. बोला हाँ सब बाहर के लोग ही देखेंगे. लेकिन जितने ISKCON के भक्त लोग हैं वो आके बोलते रील अच्छा लगता है आपका. मैंने कहा यार तुम्हारे लिए है ही नहीं वो. So this is a big obsession and it is going to impact your sadhana and your strength in Krishna consciousness like nothing else. So therefore, that is the biggest attack which all of us are experiencing. And therefore, on Ekadashi, previously it used to be fasting from grains. Fasting from grains. Now you have to add one more thing. Fasting from Wi-Fi for one full day. Fasting from the smartphone. दूर रख दो. डिजिटल डिटॉक्स. छूने का ही नहीं 24 घंटा. ऐसा मत बोलो. आज लोग जिंदगी बिना वाइफ के निकाल लेते हैं, वाईफाई के नहीं. गोवर्धन इको विलेज में लोग आते हैं, अच्छे से अच्छा कमरा दो, तो ये नहीं पूछते कि बिस्तर कैसा है, खाना कैसे, बोले वाईफाई का पासवर्ड क्या है. So therefore, what Nityananda Prabhu is saying, 16 rounds, like chanting, Lord Chaitanya was counting and Prabhupada has given us 16 rounds, that also is very, very insufficient for this age of Kali. But because we can't handle, so Prabhupada has given us that standard. And so, Nityananda Prabhu says, my dear Lord, take one person with you at least. Who will that be? Kal Krishnadas. He will carry your water pot. He will carry Bahirva. He will not speak in your South India tour, but at least take that one person. So this is very important. Nityanand Prabhu wants to travel with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityanand Prabhu wants that seva. Lord Chaitanya rejects it. Sometimes when we feel, if I can't do that seva, nobody should do that. Nityanand Prabhu says, I am not allowed to do that seva. But Lord Chaitanya needs that seva. If he is not allowing me to do that seva, let someone else who is acceptable to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu be allowed to do that seva. So the seva is important, not that I should do that seva. And therefore, he says, please take Kal Krishnadas. So then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after seeking blessings and permission of the most advanced devotees, Lord Chaitanya comes to the house of Sarabhaum Bhattacharya, who has become devotee 1 month ago. And Sarabhaum Bhattacharya, he says, Bahujanmer punya phole paino tomar sanga, he na sanga vidhi more korile ka bhanga. When Lord Chaitanya says, I am going to South India, give me blessings, Sarabhaum Bhattacharya says, after millions and millions of lifetimes, I am getting your sangha, my dear Lord. Now, the time factor, vidhi, the destiny, is taking me away from you. We get the association of devotees because of the causeless mercy of Krishna and the piety which we have acquired from previous lives. When Sudama receives all of his opulences, he folds his hands and prays to Krishna. The world is looking for opulence. I have received that by your grace, but my prayer to you is Tasyaiva me sauhrda sakhya maitri dasyam punar janmani janmani syat mahanubhavena gunalayena vishajatastat purusha prasanga. My dear Lord, I pray only for 3 things. Let me have sauhrda, sakhya and maitri towards your devotees. Dasyam punar, and let me serve those devotees Janmani janmani syat, life after life. What kind of devotees? Mahanubhavena gunalayena, devotees who are embodiment of divine qualities. Gunalayena, who are an ocean of divine devotional qualities. Vishajyatas, may I become attached to such devotees. Tat Purusha Prasanga, may I become attached to the devotees from my heart. So therefore, Lord Kapila tells his mother, Prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kavayo vidu ta eva sadhu shukrito mokshadvaram apavratam. When we become attached to the devotees, that attachment to the devotees opens the door of liberation. Sa eva sadhu shukrito mokshadvaram apavratam. Prasangam ajaram pasham. Just like we become attached to materialistic activities, that same attachment, if we transfer to the devotees, it opens the doors to liberation. And therefore, Sarabhom Bhattacharya is expressing to Lord Chaitanya, if you leave me and go to South India, I will be finished. And he says, Shire Vajra Padi Mora Putra Mori Jai, Taha Sahi Tomar Vichhed Sahananayai. My dear Lord, association and attachment to devotees is so crucial, is so critical. It is my most wanted possession. It is my definition of prosperity. To have association of devotees is the real prosperity, real opulence, real Aishwarya. Shire Vajrapadi. May adversity like thunderbolt falling upon the head. Putra Marijai, adversity like son dying. The death of a son, the loss of a son and the loss of a body are two of the most unimaginable losses we can experience in life. He says, Taha Sahi, I can tolerate that. Tomar Vichhed Sahananayai. But to tolerate separation from devotees and to tolerate separation from you is not possible. And therefore, Prabhupada says, association of devotees is more valuable than one's own life or one's own relations. That is how valuable is satsanga. Durlabho manavo deho dehinam kshanabhanguraha tatrapi durlabham manye vaikuntha priyadarshanam. To get human form of life is rare. Rarer is to get a long life in human form. Rarer than long life is to get a healthy life in human form. But the rarest is in a healthy, long human form of life to get the association of Vaishnavas, whose goal in life is Vaikuntha. That association is rarest. Vaikuntha Priya Darshanam. To have darshan of Vaikuntha Priya devotees is the most rare. And therefore, all of you are at the peak of your youth. And at the peak of youth, you could be doing millions of nonsensical, distracting things which will take you down into hellish planets. And millions of youth are there all over the world. The world population is almost 8,800 crore. In this 800 crore population, there are only 50 crore vegetarians. 750 crore people in this world. They cannot sleep till they kill an animal and stuff the meat in their belly. We are living in a very, very cruel world. Out of that 50 crore vegetarians, if you take away onion, garlic, automatically another 40-45 crores is finished. Then you take away chai, coffee also. Who remains? Only us here. इतने ही बच जाते हैं. And in that, to chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 principles, it's very rare. You are even considering this idea that I will try to do this. It is special blessings. It is not ordinary. It is not ordinary. Otherwise, you see your colleagues, your friends who are youth, who are with you, what kind of life they are contemplating and leading. And therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this point, through Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, is very clearly indicating to get the association of devotees is the rarest of the rare opportunities. And unless that rare association is there, we cannot get transformed. And the whole idea of Krishna consciousness is how to give that association, how to provide that association. And therefore, His Holiness Radhanath Swami inspired us to create the Govardhan Eco Village. And the only purpose behind that was how to give association to people who are not directly interested. Right? Because when he first said we should create Govardhan Eco Village, nobody was interested. None of us were interested because we are not interested to go to a village. And we had 4 or 5 devotees who were living there. We had 25-30 acres. There was one nice kitchen building. And 4 or 5 brahmacharis were sleeping peacefully every night. 20-25 cows were there. Some agriculture was there. These brahmacharis did not like the city. We did not like the village. So we were made for each other. And wild boars, jungli suar, रात को घूमते थे. But one of the brahmachari would snore so loudly कि वो सुअर भाग जाता था. So everything was inbuilt. So then Radhanath Swami is saying we should make eco village, we should make this. So nobody could figure out what's going on. So then Maharaj also became very impatient. He said, you give this project as a gift on my 60th birthday. So I said, Arey, this is not fair. You are now putting emotional demand. Devotional tak theek tha. So then we put a blank sheet of paper in the ashram. Those who want to give a gift to Radhanath Swami on his 60th birthday, this Govardhan Eco Village project, please write your name. Who want to go from Chowpatty to Vada. 1 week, that sheet was on the notice board. Not a single name came. Blank. So I told Maharaj, the only way we will be able to do is bring people who have no choice, the new bhaktas. So that's how we got a whole new batch of devotees there. And all of them shifted on May 1st, 2010. They still call it Labor Day. So, it was the beginning of a creation of a holy place only for one purpose, to give Sangha. To bring people so that they get Sangha, that's all. And so many people from the West, they like environmental, this, that, so okay, make some, mud bricks and this and that. And then Maharaj said, there are yoga groups who like donkeys, so you bring donkey. So I said, Arey, donkey? Pagal hai kya? So I didn't say that. But I was thinking like that. पागल हो गए, अब तक तो बहुत हो गया था लेकिन ये ज़्यादा हो गया. Then I called Maharaj for some construction update and he said, update on construction later. What is the status of the donkey? And then I said, well, we are still working on it. You know, Indian style. You don't say हाँ या ना. चल रहा है. चर्चाएं हो रही हैं. गधे को ढूंढा जा रहा है. Maharaj said, you have been beating around the bush for last 3-4 months. I know, as per your social protocol in India, it is not a very respected animal. So you are avoiding to bring it. Now listen to me. Have blind faith and just get it. With your IIT brain, you are not able to process it. Keep that aside, just get the donkey because I am saying it. Whether you understand, accept, get convinced or not, just get it. I said, okay. So then when Maharaj came to India, when he landed in GEV, we started showing him the construction site. He said, construction site later, first donkey. And when he goes near the donkey and tries to touch the donkey runs away. Maharaj turns to me and says, why did the donkey run away? और मैं सोच रहा मुझे क्या पता, मैं थोड़ी गधा हूं. And then he says, because where the donkey was previously, he was mistreated. Now, you have to treat the donkey with so much of love, so much of affection, that he comes running to you. And then I seriously got identity crisis. Who am I? और मेरा पूरा जिंदगी का फ्लैशबैक चल रहा था कि मैं IIT में गया, पास आउट हुआ, ISKCON में आया, क्या सोच के आया, और सामने गधा मेरे को देख रहा है. मैं कौन, ये कौन, और ये हो क्या रहा है. So then I said to Maharaj, you want, so what we should do to increase affection? He said, somebody should brush the donkey every day. I said, who will do that? Maharaj said, you. I said, me? I said, then you find somebody who can do. Then we found a local villager. They started doing, and actually in 6 months, the donkey became super friendly. And some people have taken videos also. When you do kirtan, it rolls on the ground. Transcendental. And then Maharaj started keeping name also. Ambuja. Kamala, Ambuja. He gave name also. And I'm thinking, अरे भक्तों का दीक्षा नहीं हो रहा है. दामोदर चैतन्य प्रभु डेटाबेस भर के रखा है. दीक्षा का लिस्ट आगे नहीं बढ़ रहा है, गधों का हो रहा है. So then, some months later, the biggest yoga group in America, they came. I gave them a personal tour. And there they were seeing various properties in India where to bring our 80 to 100 yogis every year. This was 2013. It was very important because the amount of revenue which they would bring was very big. So Maharaj said, give them a detailed tour. Impress them. I said, yes. Showed them mud blocks, sewage technology, this, that. Then finally bring them to the Gadha Shala. They look at the Gadha and say, what is the purpose? I said, no purpose. What work they do? I said, no work. They only relax. Why are they here? I said, I don't know. You don't know? I said, Maharaj told me to bring them, so I brought him. Further questions you have to ask him only. Says, you don't put heavy loads on them, you don't use them for... No. They just feed, and I brought the local villager, he just malishes them and gives them nice food. They relax, they roam around. They started discussing with each other privately in one corner. This yoga group, 2-3 leaders, then came back and said, one of our 4 cardinal principles of our yoga group is respect for animals. The kind of respect you are giving to this donkey, it is unprecedented. We have not seen anywhere. And therefore we have decided that amongst various other properties in India, other properties have many other advantages compared to yours, but because the way you are treating these donkeys, we make a decision that every year we will bring our yoga group to Govardhan Eco Village only. I looked at the donkey and wala salam baba. I did not understand, he's such a marketing genius. It is 11th year and that group is still coming every year. And they book 1 year in advance. So therefore the idea is, Sangha means you somehow create transformation through various means. So all other things are simply, excuses. But how someone can become transformed in Krishna consciousness, the devotee becomes the means for doing that. And this yoga group, they are so devotional that on the last day, they actually give beads and mantra connected to the Sri Vaishnava, our Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. So therefore, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is expressing that I cannot leave your association. The real opulence is that association. Shire Vajrapadi, loss of my body, Putra Marijai, loss of my son, is not a major loss compared to the loss of association. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then, seeks permission of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. After 2-3 days, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gives him blessings to go. So therefore Lord Chaitanya seeks blessings of the advanced devotees, then he seeks blessings of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, was a very young devotee, just now become devotee. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when you are in your South India tour, make sure that you don't miss one person. That is, Ramanandarai Ache Godavari Tire, Adhikari Hoente Ho Vidyanagare, Shudra Vishay Gyane Upekshana Koribe, Amara Bachanatare Abashya Milibe. You please go and meet Ramananda Rai, who may be a politician, may be a governor, but he is very advanced. Do not judge devotees based on their external profession. And therefore he says, Alaukika Vakya Cheshta Tare na bujiya, Parihasa Korya Chetare, Vaishnava Bolia. And he says, I made a mistake of judging him. I could never understand his glories before. And we used to ridicule him, calling him Vaishnav. But now we realize what is his standard, what is his glory. Therefore, my dear Lord, the essence of touring holy places is to get to hear and chant in the association of devotees. Please do meet Ramananda Rai. Do not ignore him thinking he is a pounds and shillings politician on the bank of Godavari. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looks at Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and he says, Ghore Krishna bhaji more kora ashirvade, Nilachaliya sijena tomar prasade. Oh Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, give me blessings that I can return back to Jagannath Puri after my South India tour. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, this looks strange. Sannyasi is seeking blessings of Grihastha. But Prabhupada says, if someone follows Krishna consciousness strictly, then even if he is in any ashram, even a Grihastha becomes empowered to bless a sannyasi. So therefore, we are in Krishna consciousness movement. And that consciousness can be purified, evolved, developed in any ashram. That's the important thing. So having received the blessings of Nityananda Prabhu and other advanced devotees, having received the blessings of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is a very young, very, very recently connected devotee, Lord Chaitanya then goes to the deities of Jagannath and prays to Lord Jagannath to give blessings. Agya mala paya harshe namaskara kori, anande dakshina deshe chole gaur hari. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he stands in front of Lord Jagannath and prays to Jagannath, Baladeva and Subhadra, at that time the garland of Lord Jagannath falls to the ground on the altar. The priest brings that mala and offers it to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya accepts that mala as Agya mala, the permission of the deities to travel to South India. Armed and powered with these three blessings, the blessings of the advanced devotees, blessings of the younger devotees, and the blessings of the deities, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feels qualified, blessed to travel to South India. And as he travels out, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and other devotees are following him. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so fast. Tare upekshya kohila shighra gaman ke bujite pare Mahaprabhur chittaman. He just travels so fast that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya falls on the ground. And then Lord Chaitanya comes to Alarnath. The first stop outside of Jagannath Puri is Alarnath. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the first time, inaugurates the Harinam Sankirtan movement outside of Navadvip in Alarnath. Chaudike te sabaloka bole hari hari, prema veshe madhye nritya kore gaur hari. Lord Chaitanya is dancing in the midst of all the devotees chanting the holy names with his beautiful golden complexion form. Kanchana sadrisha deha arunavasan pulaka ashrukampa sveda tahate bhushan. In his beautiful golden complexion form, with his reddish complexion clothes, with hairs standing on end, tears flowing down his eyes like river Ganges, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's throat choked with ecstasy, his lips quivering the holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Dekhiya loke ramana hoila chamatkar, jata loka aise tata nahi yar ghar. And whoever looks at Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he just feels, I don't wish to return back home. And people were chanting the names of Krishna with Lord Chaitanya. Keha nache, keha gaye, Sri Krishna Gopal, premete bhasila loka, stri vruddha abal. Some were chanting, some were dancing, some were shouting loudly, Sri Krishna Gopal, in deep ecstasy. All sections of society were engaged in that chanting. Stri, Vriddha, Abal. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had his two powerful instruments. his beauty and his ecstasy by which he was attracting the devotees. And when this chanting of the holy names reached a crescendo, Nityananda Prabhu was standing on the side and watching this wave of ecstasy rising from the ocean of the Sankirtan of Lord Chaitanya. And Nityananda Prabhu says, Dekhi Nityananda Prabhu kohe bhakta gone, ehi rupe nritya age, hobe grame grame. Nityananda Prabhu says, just by seeing this Harinam Sankirtan being inaugurated Alarnath, I can predict that this chanting of the holy name will happen in every town and village in the future. 500 years ago, Nityananda Prabhu made a prediction of Srila Prabhupada establishing ISKCON all over the world. Who would have imagined that Krishna consciousness would spread in America, in Canada, in Australia, in South America? Nobody would have imagined in Africa. Prabhupada was giving a lecture in Africa and Prabhupada said, Krishna is black. The people started clapping. Prabhupada said, not like you. He is transcendental. It is Satchidananda Ghan. Right? One of our sannyasis was invited deep in Congo jungles by somebody that my father, who is a tribal chief, is inviting you home for lunch. So, this sannyasi got doubt. When you are called home for lunch, whether I will get lunch or I will become lunch. But still he went. And when he saw the tribal chief sitting on his throne, the tribal chief looked at him and said, I have been waiting for you. He got nervous. What does he mean? And the tribal chief takes out a Bhagavad Gita from near his throne and shows it and says, I was traveling in the jungle and some of you people were doing kirtan, chanting the names. When I went near them, they gave me this book. I loved this book so much that I have started chanting the holy names of Hare Krishna, and I called you so that you can take my son and train him to become a devotee of Krishna. In the jungles of Africa. Can you imagine? Right? Russia. Who would imagine? The KGB caught hold of a scientist and started interrogating him and started asking him questions from the Bhagavad Gita because they had suspicion that he is reading the Gita of ISKCON. This is during communist regime. And this person was actually studying Gita a little bit, but not very thoroughly. But the KGB officer who was interrogating him knew the shlokas of Gita by heart. And after the interrogation, when they released him, this devotee started thinking, I am not very serious in studying Gita like the KGB. The KGB is so serious that they have memorized verses also. Inspired by the KGB, I will now study the Gita thoroughly. And he went deep into the Gita, became totally convinced, and he became a leader in ISKCON. He is Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. And he still says, my Shiksha Guru is KGB. Because of their inspiration, I started studying the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada established Krishna consciousness worldwide in places where nobody could even imagine. Nobody could even dream that ISKCON would set up here. Prabhupada wanted Jagannath Rath Yatra in Australia. And he told Madhudvishya Prabhu, you help start Rath Yatra there. So Madhudvishya Prabhu is one of the best Kirtaniyas in ISKCON that time. So he was doing Harinam Sankirtan in the streets of Sydney. He was arrested and put in jail. He wrote a letter to Prabhupada that we have been put in jail, 7 of us, to be released on bail. They are asking for $5,000 to $6,000. Prabhupada said, no bail, remain in jail. And you do kirtan in the jail, they'll release you. So they started doing kirtan. Hearing the kirtan, all the other prisoners also started doing kirtan. Seeing the prisoners doing kirtan, the jail guards, they started doing kirtan. One day when the jailer came to visit the jail, one of the jail guards looked at the jailer and said, Hari Bol. The jailer got bewildered. What is going on? He called these devotees and said, what is going on here? And they said, we are just doing some Hare Krishna, that's all. He said, we are releasing you. But the devotees realized that their program is going on better inside the jail. They are getting more response. So they said, no, we have no money. We cannot pay the bail amount. So we are not qualified to leave the jail. We will remain inside only. The jailer said, you guys are more dangerous inside the jail than outside. They were released. When the court date came, when Madhudvishya Prabhu stood in front of the judge said, what is this matter? I don't even understand. And Madhudvishya Prabhu said, matter is very simple. Our God is Jagannath, the most powerful person in creation. He needs to be given a proper ceremonial procession in the best street in Sydney. The city authorities are not giving permission, so we are moving around here and there with Mridang and Kartal doing kirtan. You allot the best street permission for Rath Yatra, we have no problem. The judge looked at the police and said, only this much? This is the only matter. I think it's a very reasonable demand. Permission granted. The devotees went to jail doing kirtan, came out with Rath Yatra permission. And today, ISKCON has Rath Yatras in more than 500 cities across the whole world. So we should acknowledge what Srila Prabhupada has really done. And Nityananda Prabhu has predicted this. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Alarnath then begins his journey in South India. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's journey was very simple. Whichever village he would go to, he would embrace the people, and those people would become devotees. As soon as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would embrace them, they would jump into pure love with ecstasy. Whichever people they embraced, they would also become pure devotees in one instant. In this way, village after village after village in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tour, from Alarnath till he reached Kovur, he was only converting and transforming people into pure devotees. Navadvipe yai shakti no koila prakase, se shakti prakasi nistarila dakshina deshe. Kaviraj Goswami says, this power of transformation through devotional service, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not even reveal in Navadvip. This Shakti he did not inaugurate, reveal, bring out in Navadvip. But he released that potency for the first time in South India. So the South India tour of Lord Chaitanya is very, very significant, because only from Alarnath onwards, especially when he starts the South India tour, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a glimpse to the whole world on the transformational potency of the Harinam Sankirtan. The preaching mission was officially inaugurated in South India. Lord Chaitanya spent his life in Bengal and then later in Puri, but the power of the preaching potency he demonstrated in South India. Se Shakti Prakasi Nistarila Dakshina Deshe. Navadvipe ei Shakti no koila Prakashe. In Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did kirtan with his intimate associates. In Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya did kirtan with his intimate associates. To the masses, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave his Harinam distribution, especially in South India. And therefore, when we have come here in South India tour, it is our responsibility, it is our very, very important duty to pray at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to please give us the potency to preach Krishna consciousness, to transform others' hearts. Because bhakti is all about three things. Name Ruchi, which means aspiration to serve. Vaishnav Seva, which is action to serve. And Jive Daya, which is giving access to the conditioned souls to serve. And so, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated Name Ruchi and Vaishnav Seva in Navadvip and Jagannath Puri, but he especially demonstrated Jive Daya in his tour of South India. And so, in the afternoon session, we will continue our discussion from the point Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to Kovur and meets Ramananda Rai, and then he continues his journey and comes to Srirangam and concludes his tour visiting various places including Pandharpur, and then comes back to Jagannath Puri Dham. This is the significance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Dakshin Yatra, South India tour. I am very grateful to each one of you that you have invested significant time, energy, effort, money to come on this South India tour with the IYS organized Yatra. You could be doing anything in these 4 days in your plans. You are young, you are strong, you are energetic, you are good looking. You could be traveling to some romantic places with your girlfriends. You could be going to Lonavala, or some other romantic places. You could be going to some movies or cricket matches or whatever. But instead of doing all of that, you have decided to come for these 4 days in an all-boys tour. Led by monks with strange hairstyle, just to hear and chant the glories of Krishna, which shows that you are especially blessed by Krishna, that he has given you this faith in the process of bhakti. Without that blessings, you would not be sitting here. I congratulate each one of you for making this choice. Thank you very much.